All right, folks. We just got done with the game, and I'll pull up the stats here in a minute. Joe Milton had a huge first half. I mean, I came out here, I was ready to sing the praises of Joe, and then he got hurt. Man, he got hurt just towards the end of the second quarter, and he was struggling after that. He went 2 for 10, and I think his knee was bothering him. You know, they put a wrap on it in the second half, but he seemed to be struggling. I'm going to bring BVD on here. He actually live streamed the entire game, and I'm sure he'll have plenty to add. Let me add him here.
What's going on, Jay?
Hey, man, I know you live streamed the entire game. I watched a bunch of it with you.
I did, and I appreciate that. I tried to get you to come on and stream with me.
I would have, but I was at a little function thing, and I just couldn't do it.
Okay, I got you. Well, maybe we can do that some other time. I'm going to continue to stream all the games. I've had more success than I thought I would doing it.
Yeah, I would have popped on if I could have, but I couldn't.
All right. People seem to like it, and nobody else that we know is doing it, so why not?
I enjoyed it, but I couldn't watch all of it. I watched about 30 minutes of it off and on. In the first half, I'm telling you, Joe was killing it. I mean, he was killing it in the first half, and I'm wondering if he hurt his knee to the point it affected his throwing style, because it felt like he was struggling being accurate after that, and he looked like his hand was lowering, and he was kind of like using his arm rather than his lower body, and he was off the mark after that, because he was playing great up to that point.
Yeah, well, I think he didn't go like 10 out of 11 passes where he didn't have a completion.
Yeah,
the overthrows were bad in the second half, worse than they have been really all year. And I don't know. I thought when he went in at halftime, what I thought was going to happen was that him going in there resting, that knee was going to swell up and he was going to start really feeling it. And maybe that's what happened, maybe not. I don't know. I know when you have an injury like that, no matter how severe or how insevere, the more you rest it when it happens, the worse it gets. So I feel like that's maybe part of why they brought him back out in the second half. And then when UTSA started going down the field like they were and scoring, they were in a position to where they kind of had to leave him in.
Yeah, it became a ball game there for a few minutes in the second half. They scored 2 touchdowns, and they put that little lefty in there who went 10 for 10. And he was looking good. He's got some moxie. You know, it's funny. They had the Marburger guy in there before, and he played well in the last game. He threw 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Our defense was all over them, and there was a couple of plays that I don't know that I've ever seen. It almost looked like, I mean, they got super lucky, but they were down by a ton. Right. But UTSA had a couple plays that were just crazy lucky. So it was kind of shocking in a way. But they went away from Marburger and went to the lefty.
I think they definitely made the right decision. But Marburger, I think, was their 3rd string quarterback. So is this guy 4th string? I mean,
wait a minute. No, Josh McNown's son. Is that the
McNown's son? Okay,
that was the UCLA guy, and then he played in the NFL for a long time. Did he play for Chicago?
I'm not sure of that. I don't know if there was more than one McCown or not. I know the one we saw today looked pretty good for a redshirt.
I think that must be his kid.
I do know he came from Colorado, so
okay.
I guess he knew he wasn't beating Shador out there. So
yeah, let's take a look at the stats. I actually pulled them up here. Let me Let me present them. Share screen. I'll get used to this one day.
While you're looking that up, I want to reply to Corn Pops. By the way, I love the name Corn Pop. It says, let's all take a moment to thank Alabama for beating Lane Kiffin today. I disagree wholeheartedly with you, sir. I wanted Alabama to lose badly today, not because it was Lane Kiffin, just because it's Alabama and I hate Alabama and I could never root for them to win no matter who they play. So, but otherwise, I agree with you, Corn Pop.
Yeah, I was actually, it's really hard for me to root for, Lane Kiffin, but geez, Actually, talk for a minute if you would. I've got a cough here for just a second. All right.
Okay.
All right. Let me stop my camera here.
Yeah,
And you go ahead. You take over for a couple of minutes.
Okay, you brought up Nico. How bad was that non-call on the face mask? And he still tried to throw the ball. I hate when they put quarterbacks in just to hand off. It's like, what's the point? Everybody in the stadium knows that's what they were doing, putting Nico in to hand the ball off. UTSA knew what they were doing. That's why we didn't get a first down, I don't think. Well, we should have got a first down on the face mask, and then maybe we would have get to have seen him throw. But
he also made it looked like a perfect throw to Dante, and he just dropped it. That first pass that he threw.
Oh, the first series, was it the first series?
Yeah, very first pass that he had, very first play.
Okay, but, I may have missed that because they took my stream down.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I had a feeling that was going to be an issue. I noticed you were doing that, and I was like, they're going to get you.
Jay, the whole stream, I was putting that box up for a little while.
Yeah.
And nothing was happening. I was like, I can't believe I'm getting away with this. And then finally at the end, when the game's over, they take it down. I'm like, okay. So I won't do that again. I won't make that mistake again.
Yeah, they're always looking for that kind of stuff. Yeah. But I'll tell you, Joe played so good before he hurt his knee. And he ran the ball. And I've thought this for so long, that if Joe would run the ball, it would – let me get rid of this for a second.
He ran it quite a bit today.
If Joe would run the ball, it's a different game. It just is. And that's what he needs to do, because he ran past the safeties. They couldn't catch him. So he's got speed. He can definitely run if he wants to. And that changes the game dramatically, because now you can't focus on the running backs. And now all those guys got to stay up, and then he can beat them deep, which he did for the first half. I mean, when he ran that 80-yard run, that changed the game dramatically across the board. And then he ran 2 or 3 more times on top of that. And they weren't for big gains, but they were enough to keep the defense honest and keep them off our running backs. Because what's happening is when he doesn't run, they're like, okay, he's just going to hand it off, or he's going to pass. And that was what Hendon Hooker did so well. And he was kind of doing some Hendon Hooker stuff in the first quarter, second quarter. And then, like I said, I thought he'd hurt his knee significantly at first, but he popped up and he seemed okay. But I think he's tweaked it, probably bruised his knee to the point where it affected his passing, because he went from very accurate to where he started throwing it sideways and long and all this kind of stuff. And he didn't look like he was using his lower body right. He was kind of like dropping his arm and sideways, which is what you would do if your lower body's hurting. You would just kind of like fling it.
Using that arm strength instead of body strength.
Yeah, because Squirrel was wide open. He threw it literally 5 yards behind him. And as soon as that happened, I was like, something's wrong. That doesn't make sense.
He had quite a few bad overthrows today, and I was thinking, here we go, overthrow Joe again. And a couple of people made a comment on my stream. He's always been overthrow Joe. No, he hasn't. I mean, I know that's the knock on him going all the way back to when he first got here, maybe even when he was at Michigan. But he seemed like from the Clemson game all the way up and through really the Austin Peay game, he seemed like he had that problem under control and wasn't overthrowing as bad. But today was just kind of like, okay, maybe I don't know. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't have it fixed. But I don't care who your quarterback is. When you see him overthrow a wide receiver, it just drives you nuts.
Yeah, well, like I said, he looked really good in the first quarter and most of the second. He did have 1 or 2, but they were slightly overthrown. I mean, it was like it touched their hand. Yeah. So I don't consider that an overthrow. It wasn't until he got hurt that it appeared that he lost his accuracy, and he went for like 2 for 10 after that. Because if you look at his numbers, and I'll add this right here, he wound up 18 for 31. But in the first quarter and most of the second quarter, all those misses, 8 of those happened after he got hurt. So
what is that percentage-wise? What was his percentage today? I know
it's a little over 50%, like 55. But I'm telling you, prior to that, 8 of those misses were after the injury. I mean, he was
on fire in the first half.
I mean, he could not have been playing better, honestly. Yeah. And Dylan Sampson blew up. Of course, it was after kind of UTSA was kind of down, but Dylan is a beast. When he gets going, he averaged 12 yards a run.
I wonder how bad the Jalen injury is. I know they're saying upper body.
You know what it looked like to me? Like maybe it looked to me like he might have had a slight concussion.
Oh, well, that would definitely be upper body.
Because you noticed he was shaking his head. That's normally what you do when you get your bell rung, which is what we used to call it. I hope it's not that. They'll identify that immediately if it is.
Yeah, and he'll be out for a game or two.
Yeah, or like I said, if it's just a little, I don't know. Like I said, I hate to even talk about concussions because that's a whole different animal. But Dylan balled out. I mean, that guy, they let him loose.
Baby. Yeah.
He went loose.
He's a cage cheetah. Not anymore. They opened the cage today. I just wonder why they hadn't been using him. We'll probably never know. All we'll do is be left to speculate as fans.
Yeah. I just hate that he got hurt in that second quarter because he was playing so well. Everything was going great. And when he runs the ball, he's a different quarterback. He really is. And the fact that he showed when he ran past those safeties and they didn't catch him, that tells me his top end speed is elite. But you've got to be willing to do it. And I think this was the first game he was willing to say, you know what, I'm just going to ball out. I'm going to play like Hendon did. And we were up 31-0. And then he got that dadgum knee injury. And that changed him. That put him back to being a pocket passer. And he was injured, it appeared to me, because all of a sudden he's not accurate. So
I hope that showed him today that he's not a pocket passer. I mean,
no, he should be a dual threat guy.
Right.
I mean, he's fast, he's big, he's strong. If he would be a dual threat guy, he would be devastating. But he's got to be. I think what he's done, he's heard so many people say, "You've got an unbelievable arm. You've got an unbelievable arm. That arm. And he's, oh, okay, that's who I am. I'm the arm guy. But what he should be is the dual threat guy. That's how you get the Benjamin.
Oh, you're that QB that can do it all. Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah. Well, when you can run, all of a sudden you're devastating to the defense. But now that he's hurt, it appears, or tweaked his knee, bruised it, or whatever he did, will he be able to run against South Carolina? Because South Carolina's defense is very different than the UTSA defense.
Yeah, that'll be this week will be for sure the question. How much treatment he has to get and what kind of treatment and all that, which stuff that we won't know about until next weekend. And but that staff down there, they'll take the best possible care of him. And if it's something minor, we won't even notice it or talk about it next week, I think.
Yeah, if it's minor, like I said, I mean, he jumped right up afterwards, but it's just had he not been inaccurate after that, because that's what you would do. You'd start using your upper body to throw the ball, and that's when you become inaccurate. So that was so I think he tweaked it to the point he was probably concerned about it and he was feeling it, but he's got a whole week to get better. And so we'll see how this plays out, but he needs to continue to run the ball because that changes the offense dramatically.
And contrary to what a lot of our fans think, we need Joe Milton. I mean, Tennessee instantaneously becomes a totally different team if he goes down for the year and Nico is our quarterback, I think. Now, I know there's a lot of fans that think, oh, he's ready. He can come right in and play like Hendon Hooker. Well, there's a reason, in my opinion, and they talked about this today on the broadcast, there's a reason that Nico shadows Joe Milton everywhere he goes on the sideline. He's in his ear, soaking in all the information he can about how to play the quarterback position. Because as good as he was in high school, college is a totally different animal, and he's got a lot to learn. I know there's a lot of people that would say, well, he can get that experience playing the game. Yeah, he can also get killed behind our offensive line, and that's the last thing we need. So,
well, it's hard to say till he gets in with the first team and actually plays some real reps. But
And we're
like
not going to see that.
look, if Joe can play like he did in the first quarter and right up to the point he got hurt, he'll be fine.
Yeah.
I mean, he'll be fine. If he'll run the ball, 10 or 12 times a game and keep the defense honest, you're probably going to have a pretty darn good quarterback back there for you the whole year. Now,
that's what everybody was hoping to see.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, he was rocking and rolling, man. We were up, we were killing it. When he ran that 80-yard first play, that defense they didn't know what to do at that point. They're like, we were expecting this guy to sit in the pocket and just be a pocket passer. All of a sudden, we've got this nightmare to deal with. And all of us, we were up 28-0. And even though we tried to let them back in the game, it was 14-0. And we had the Alabama thing where the guy touches the ball on the punt for no reason.
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
We tried to let them back in the game right there. I just call it the Alabama move because I'll always remember that. That was a huge play in our win against Alabama. I thought Saban was going to lose his mind when that happened.
Which one are you talking about now?
When Alabama punted the ball.
Yeah.
And their Alabama guy for some reason touched it, and we wound up getting, and then we went ahead 21-10 or whatever it was. And I thought Saban was going to lose his mind. That really changed the game in the first half significantly because of course Hendon jumped on it and said, "Oh, thank you. Now watch me put 7 on you."
Yeah, and even though it's early in the game, you never know how big something like that's going to turn out to be. And at the end of the day, that turned out to be huge.
Yeah, I definitely think Joe Milton will start next week. Look, if he finished out most of the game here with that knee, he'll have a whole week to rehab whatever that is. It must not be significant because I guarantee you they x-rayed it and probably did all kinds of stuff to make sure that he was structurally sound, and he must have been or they wouldn't have let him back out there. And they probably put that on there just to help support it a little bit. But it does concern me that he was inaccurate after that.
He was definitely, I would think, feeling some discomfort. I mean, and when something like that, it's easy to let something like that get in your head. Oh no, my knee's hurting. If I take another shot, is that going to be it? Stuff like that rattles around in your head, and it can cause inaccuracies. That's what I'm rolling with.
I would think that, and plus the defense went, okay, he's not going to run anymore because he's got a brace or a support system on his knee or whatever you would call that, the little wrap. And see, I don't know that he had a brace underneath that wrap or it was just a wrap.
It looked like, to be honest, it looked like one of those braces you get at CVS or Walgreens that you just pull up over your leg and it goes around your knee and stuff. I mean, it didn't look like anything significant,
Yeah, I wouldn't think that Heupel would have put him out there if he had any type of significant injury. That just would be foolish.
Yeah, surely not.
Yeah. I definitely think that Joe Milton will start next week for sure.
The most important thing that came out of today was one of these. We got a W.
Look, UTSA is not a bad team. They're just not a bad team. They've won a lot of games the last 2 years. Now, they're not the same team without Frank Harris, who I was not surprised in the slightest to find out he was ruled out last night.
Yeah.
Because he's obviously got a serious turf toe, and they're off this coming week. Then they play their first conference game. So what are you going to – of course you're not going to play him.
Yeah, they're still in fine shape to win their conference again this year. It would be the third year in a row.
Yeah, because, why would you risk losing your conference over trying to play this guy in a game you're probably not going to win, and you put him out there and he's not 100%. And Frank Harris not being able to run the ball is a detriment to the offense because now we're going to pin our ears back, go after him, and he just becomes a pocket passer. Are there any teams out there that can win with a pocket passer anymore?
It doesn't seem like it in this day and age.
That's why I was so concerned about Joe. But I saw tonight that he can run. He absolutely can run. When he ran past those two safeties, I thought for sure they'd catch him.
Yeah.
Those guys were half his size, and he was right by him, and it was over. Surprised the crap out of me.
He kicked it into another gear for sure. I was kind of surprised too. I thought they'd run him down about to 40 or 35. And
it looked like they were going to. And then he was gone.
Well,
it was very surprising. So that tells me he absolutely, You're right. Yeah, he definitely got hurt in the pocket. I agree. So it's not about running, but if he's hurt, can he run?
Right.
Can he, is he willing to run too on top of it? Because he's probably going to be thinking, So, we'll see. But he will need to be able to run against South Carolina, because I'm telling you, that team is going to be – they're 1-2, which they're way better than that. They gave Georgia a run for their money. Spencer Rattler's probably playing better than any quarterback in the SEC right now.
I would have to trust your opinion on that, because I haven't seen enough of the other quarterbacks. The Texas A&M kid and the Mississippi State kid are pretty good. I don't know how they're playing, because I haven't watched enough of them. I was actually going to try and watch a little bit of the South Carolina game tonight and flip back and forth between that and Ohio State, which is, by the way, the first quarter's wrapping up and it's still a zip game.
Yeah.
So.
And I've had several people ask me where I've been the last couple of days, and I had to play in a golf tournament. And then I had a video that was going to go out, and I had all kinds of problems with it. I wound up having to delete it. So I lost 2 days. Everybody thinks it's because of Florida. No, it had nothing to do with Florida. I literally had one day where I was playing in a golf event. It was a charity event, and we shot 19 under and finished second.
Wow.
19 under. I told you I was playing golf.
Who was on the winning team?
20 under. 20 under. We played well. We played really well, but didn't make it. The next day I did a video, and I couldn't get it to launch. So I had to delete it, and I just punted. I was like, okay, this is just ridiculous. So I did one the next day. It didn't have anything to do with Florida at all. But anyway, that was the deal.
Well, I mean, you put a few video games up after video games. You put a few videos up after the Florida game, so
absolutely.
People should have known you hadn't disappeared.
But I did need to get out on the golf course and just kind of chill after that. Right. So that was part of it. But I had a charity event, so I mean, I'm going to play in it.
Yeah,
and like I said, it was super fun, and we played great, but it just wasn't good enough.
Still a long ways away. Still 4-5 days away. But you might want to remind the people about the show you will be having Wednesday.
Well, that's right. It'll be on my channel Wednesday at 12 with Talking Vols Boogie Bentley and BVD. 12 o'clock. We'll be talking all about this game, and then the South Carolina game is an important game.
I hope we're talking more about South Carolina than we are this game by Wednesday.
We will be, but we'll be talking about Joe and is he injured? Is he okay? Because that's going to play a huge role in the South Carolina game, in my opinion.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it has to.
I mean, we go into this game without Joe, we're in trouble, I think.
And I think, he's definitely going to play. He's going to start. I don't think there's any question. I don't think you could keep him off that field, because you saw him in the second quarter. They were about to put Nico in there, and he was like, oh, no. I'm fine. And he popped out there, and he went right on.
Yeah, I don't know if you thought, but I thought Nico was coming out because he was out there on the field, and then.
No, I definitely thought Nico was going to play because, he bumped his knee and all that. And they were up 31-0 or whatever it was, 28-0. And he barely missed that pass there at the end, which would have put us up, 38 or 35 to nothing at that point. But like I said, he struggled after he hurt that knee. And like I said, I noticed his arm lowering. I noticed when he threw those passes, the one behind Squirrel was terrible. And his arm was way down here, and he threw that pass. And I was like, that's not how you throw it. And he was not throwing it like that prior to the injury. He was throwing over the top, and he was pretty darn accurate. And then I saw that last pass he did. He almost looked like he just decided, you know what, this is going to hurt, but I'm going to make an accurate pass. And he came over the top, and he made a good accurate pass after going 1 for 8 or whatever it was. And then he wound up 2 for 9, and he made a good pass there at the end.
Albert, no, we made a fourth stringer look like a Heisman candidate because Marburger was their third string quarterback. I was looking at that earlier in the week at the two options they had to replace Frank. And it was Marburger and somebody else. I don't remember him mentioning the McCown kid unless he was part of what they mentioned. But to answer your question, Albert, we made a something string quarterback look like a Heisman contender there. But we have a habit of doing that at Tennessee from time to time. So I think fans should be used to that. What about tackling today? Better, worse, same, in your opinion?
Man, I'm telling you, I don't know what to do with our defense because sometimes it has a lot to do with when we score. Momentum is such an important thing in football and sports. And when we score, our defense is hairs on fire. When we go 3 and out, our defense gets depressed, and all of a sudden they start running the ball and doing all kinds of crap on us. I really think a big part of our defensive success has to do with our offense. And I understand that perfectly. I know that seems weird, but when you're coming off a touchdown, the defense comes out there so fired up, so excited to do their part. But when you go 3 and out and they're like, oh, okay, now it's up to us, and you get a little bit – I'm a big believer in momentum. I've played enough sports in my life to know when you make a birdie, you want to make another. When you make a bogey, you're like, crap, and you're not hitting the ball good. Momentum matters. And I see that in football all the time. And the thing is about football, effort is 90% of it. I mean, how much effort that defense is putting forward matters a lot. And I thought UTSA kind of knew it was over towards the end. And then Dylan Sampson just said, okay, y'all want to kind of give up a little bit? Watch this. And he went out there and balled out on them. Cheetah got loose.
What did he end up with? I know it was over 100.
Oh, yeah. Let's pull it up. I'll show you. He threw for a bunch.
Because Joe had 90, I think, 89 or 90 rushing, which I thought he had more than that because that was an 82-yard run to start the game, and then he had a couple other good-sized runs.
Yeah, Dylan had 11 carries for 139 yards, 2 touchdowns. Joe had 5 carries. Now, it was only 89 yards, but those other 4 carries mattered because it kept the defense honest. A quarterback needs to run some. Even if he only gets a few yards, he needs to hold on to the ball because then they don't focus totally on the running back. And see, when he burned them for 81 yards, I think that changed the defense mindset. They were like, we can't let this happen again, so they had to start watching him. And that makes a big difference in my mind.
Let's see, 33 carries for 303 yards. That's like a 9-something average, isn't it?
Yeah, that was huge. And, of course, 81 of it came from Joe right off the bat.
Hey, they all
even without that, you still ran the ball well.
Don't they take yards off of your rushing total on sacks and stuff?
Yes.
So there you go. I mean,
yeah, because he had one for 5, he had another one for like 8, and then he had a couple others.
So he had over 100 yards rushing.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, well, and then take another 10 off for the Nico sack that he had his freaking neck wrung on.
Oh yeah, that was terrible. That was such an obvious face mask.
I don't get it, Jay. I don't know how the officials miss calls like that. No, yeah, that call meant nothing in the grand scheme of the game. But let's go to Tuscaloosa in 3 weeks or whatever, and it's a tie game in the 4th quarter, and that happens, and it don't get called.
Well, here's the thing that I think is so critically important in this game that we just saw, and that's this. If Joe wants to run and decides to run, he's a different player. He is a different player, and you've got to deal with him. If he decides he's going to be a pocket passer, he's not anywhere near as difficult to deal with because he burned them bad. I mean, the start of that game, it was almost like it was over after that. Did you kind of feel like, oh, my gosh?
Yeah. It was the tale of 2 games. We killed them in the first game, and the second half was a totally different game.
Yeah. It was like once he got injured, plus on top of that, when you're up 31-0, how hard are your players? It becomes – I don't know. It becomes a little bit annoying at times because the game's over. I mean, the game was over no matter what. Even when they scored the 2 touchdowns, I'm going, we're 3 scores up. We got the ball, and the way the clock runs now, you can kind of run the clock out if you want to.
How does I've noticed this a lot in college football. Maybe I just haven't paid attention to rule changes, but I've noticed a lot of times when players run out of bounds, the clock still runs. What's up with that?
I have not. I tell you, all they want to do is run that clock.
Yeah.
It's just incredible. They even tried to run the clock on an incomplete pass. Yeah, if you run out of bounds, as soon as they mark it, it's going to run. They're not going to stop the clock. First down.
No, I mean, it doesn't
you run out of bounds.
at all when people run out of bounds. And used to be, as soon as a player stepped out of bounds, they stop the clock. They don't anymore.
No, they keep it rolling. I mean, they've changed the rules dramatically. That's why the games should be over in 3 hours. But like I said, they're popping in a ton of commercials to make more money.
Exactly. They're replacing football time with TV time. And it's killing us, the viewer, and it's helping the Dorito eater, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Jerry says South Carolina's up 14-0. Who is
Mississippi State?
Yeah, they're going to beat South Carolina is a good team. I don't care what their record is. They're a good team. They gave Georgia a run for their money. The North Carolina game didn't make any sense to me. They should have been balling with them. And Spencer got sacked 9 times and threw for 350 yards. And then he played well in the second game. But we've got our work cut out for us. I thought that was going to be a butt whooping at Neyland. We're going to have to play well.
It might be a butt whooping in Neyland if we're not careful.
It better not be a butt whooping by South Carolina because that would be tragic.
It would, but I mean that's a really good football team coming in here. And
I'm hoping Nico tweaked his knee and he'll be fine by Saturday and he's still able to run, because if he stops running the ball and he can't throw accurately because it's bothering him, it'll be a bad day.
It'll be game over probably, unless Nico comes in and balls out, or maybe Schuler. Gaston.
I don't Gaston. I don't know if we're ever going to see that guy again. It's just like he's buried. It's something. I thought for sure we would see Nico in the third quarter, and then we'd see Gaston in the fourth. Just not going to do it.
Well, I mean, there's no way right now because we're not hanging 49, 50, and 55 on teams. You know.
Well, we were up 31-0. I thought for sure
what did we score? 45 today.
Yeah. Well, we were up 31-0. Then it was 31-14. Then we went up 38.
Yeah.
And there was opportunities to put other guys in there, but like I said, and they're just going to run the ball at that point. You know, they made a couple of passes, and Nico made a really good pass, and Dante dropped it. It was right in his hands on the first down. Couldn't have made a better throw.
And it's like somebody said in the comments a few minutes ago, you can't expect that every play on every possession is not going to be perfect. And sometimes as fans, we like to analyze every single play, and you just can't do that. But I've only got about another 5 minutes, Jay, then I got to head out.
No problem.
It's been a long day. I've talked a lot today.
I was getting ready to say you did the whole live thing.
Yeah, that was almost 4 hours worth of talking.
Yeah. Did you do a pre-show too?
No,
just the live.
That is my pre-show. I go on about 10 minutes before the game starts and talk a little bit and then go.
I had you on my phone watching that, and then I was watching the game too. So I was trying to go back and forth. And unfortunately, you're seeing things before they happen.
Really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
the other way around.
It's. I think, aren't you seeing things before?
Well, it depends on how you're watching it. If you're sitting at home watching it on your TV and listening to me on a computer, you should be ahead of me because I'm streaming it. Yeah, I'm streaming it, and the stream's usually a little bit behind, and then you got a little bit of time on YouTube. So I don't know.
Yeah, it seemed like you were ahead today.
That's
so
crazy.
I was like, oh, crap. So I turned your volume down. It's like he's going to spoil it. Because, there was one time you said McCastles caught that pass. And McCastles caught it like 7 seconds later. And I was like, oh, crap. It's going to spoil it for me. So I just put,
I hate to be a spoiler for you.
So I put the volume down, but I just watched the comments.
Oh, there's a long bomb touchdown for Mississippi State.
Oh, they score?
Yeah, big.
14-7. That'll be a very interesting game. I think that's where a lot of people are doing right now is watching the game.
Yeah, I think it's going to be better game than people think. That was, hang on, give me just a second, and I'll tell you how long it was. But that was a beautiful pass that he made to a streaking wide open receiver.
Yeah.
And we need to see more of that from Joe and our guys. But we lost Ramel today. We lost Jalen today. We lost a lot of people today. Now, how long they'll be out for is, the question. But we lost some very important pieces today in the second half.
Yeah, we had some guys get banged up, and that's very typical in a football. Look, you're going to have 3 or 4 guys get injured every game. That's just the way that it is. It's a game of injuries, and it's a game of attrition, and you want your best guys to stay healthy. It's incredibly important. My concern with the South Carolina game is going to be Spencer Rattler.
Yeah.
I think he's a tremendous – he is playing so well. I mean, it shocked me. Ever since our game, he's been a different quarterback.
He's been the quarterback we've been wanting to see. He's been the quarterback everybody thought he could be. And by the way,
he was a 5-star at Oklahoma. So
yeah, that was a 65-yard bomb, Mississippi State just there. So there's hope for us. We got hope, Jay.
Yeah.
Moving forward.
Warren Bob says stream games are always behind. It seemed like about 7 to 10 seconds today. So.
Yeah, usually when we're streaming a game, we're telling the people in the comments, don't spoil it for me.
Yeah. It seems like, I don't know. Today you were ahead. You were ahead of what I was watching.
Now, the way I've been streaming games this year is totally different than I have in the past. In the past, I'll be watching the game on TV and with the volume down, but now I'm streaming it actually on my computer through SEC Network, whoever. And it seems to be closer to the same speed of the game. So I haven't been, nobody's been spoiling things so much lately.
I got you. Well, I'm going to go watch the rest of the games. I'm pretty excited about the rest that's out there. And I know that's what you're probably going to do too. But anyway, I wanted to come out and do a reaction and kind of talk about it a little bit and do all that good stuff.
Peter, I'm glad. I tried to get on Boogie's show, but he denied me. So I said, well, fine, then I'll just go hang out with Sports Talk Jay.
Peter Hollett says, the performance I was expecting week 2 against AP. Yeah, I hope you're right, Peter. He was my very first sponsor. Pete Holloway. Oh, yeah. Super nice guy. Great dude.
Now, when you say sponsor, does he have a business or something? Or
well, he had a VRBO that I did commercials for. And he was he just wanted to support the show. So I did like some commercials on my channel for his VRBO, which was the Salty Sweet. I still remember VRBO? It was very nice.
Forgive my ignorance. What is VRBO?
Vacations rental by owner, and he has his own website and all that good stuff. He's got a really nice place down there. It's like 2-bedroom, 2-bath, it's right next to the ocean. Super nice. But anyway, he was my very first sponsor.
You're in the perfect place to maybe land some sponsors like that. A lot of rentals in Sevier County. So. Oh
gosh, I know. Yeah. I've had a lot of opportunities, but I've been kind of, I'm still trying to figure out YouTube as far as this channel is concerned and what to do and what not to do and all those types of things. And I know nobody wants to hear this. This is stuff nobody wants to hear about. But anyway, I'm just trying to figure it all out and trying to have fun while I do it. But no, the Florida game, while it upset me greatly, it didn't stop me from doing videos. I just literally had 2 golf events back to back. And the one video that I was going to put out, I had to delete the whole thing. I lost 3 hours of work.
You guys in the comments, we need to give Sports Talk Jay a break. He's put a video out every day since he started this channel. I think he deserves a day or 2 of grace.
I played on Wednesday, just regular golf, because I wanted to prepare for the charity event. I had my best start ever on the Highlands at Sevierville. I was 4 under through 5. I sent you that picture. And then I went bogey immediately after that.
Oh, so it's my fault.
I blame you. I
blame me for that.
I went bogey after that. So I couldn't stay in prosperity.
Yeah, I hear you. It happens. It happens, especially when we get older. It's like, no, you're getting older. You can't have prosperity. We gotta smack you down a little bit.
But but it was fun. It is what it is. When you get this age, you're not too concerned about it.
I hear
But
you.
anyway, all right. Well, I appreciate you coming on the show, BVD. You go enjoy the rest of the games, and the rest of y'all. Thank y'all for showing up, and we'll see you next time. And I'll have a video, and BVD, you'll do a video tomorrow, I'm assuming.
Tomorrow I have my 8:00 live stream where me and the Gump will be talking about our wins, and I'll probably put. I was thinking about that, Jay. Do I really need to do a UTSA post-game video? I just did 4 hours of streaming talking about it.
Well, you know what?
Nobody's going to watch a 4-hour stream, so
do whatever you feel like doing.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
I've got some work I've got to do with my business, but I'll try to do one tomorrow evening if I can, and do like a type thing.
I can tell the people in here what's lined up. Tomorrow night at 8:00 stream. Monday I'll work on the Josh Heupel interview. Tuesday that video will upload. Also Monday morning at 9:30 I'll be on Talking Vols right after Kaner's gone. Tuesday the Heupel interview. Wednesday right here on Sports Talk J with Sports Talk J and Boogie Bentley at noon. And then Thursday I'm working on, I wouldn't call it an interview, but I'm working on doing something with someone else on Thursdays. Oh, and Tuesday. I stream Tuesday at 8:00 too. So Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays I stream at 8:00. You guys come see me anytime.
Well, I'll have some videos, and I'll find all kinds of stuff to put videos out there. Like I said, this last week was just one where I had a lot of golf going on, and every once in a while I've got to get out on the golf course and chill because especially
we still got to do that with me, you, and Boogie, man. We still got to do that.
I know. That'd be fun.
Before the weather gets too bad. I don't want to drive a golf cart in snow. As much fun as that would be, that would make golfing very bad for you guys. So,
well, thank you, Wesley. I appreciate the super chat there. Hot takes: Tennessee beats Alabama. I hope so. God, wouldn't that be great?
That would be a beautiful.
Wouldn't that be fantastic? That would just what a joy that would be to beat them twice. Ugh, we didn't beat Florida twice,
baby.
Yeah, I know that's how you feel. All right, folks. Thank y'all for showing up.
Watching
the reaction show, and we will see you next time on Sports Talk J.